my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Tonight was a special night. Tonight was an amazing night, guys. Listen, I still can't get over the adrenaline rush I had whilst watching these 10 over 10 housemates present their wager. They were so on point. Everything was just beautifully executed. And you see, the most beautiful part about it is how they were able to, teleport me all the way back to a core memory from my childhood. And, this memory was actually a pleasant one, right? And I don't know how many of you remember this show that used to air on TV back in the 90s. I think it was called Circus Night. Yes, Circus Night. It was an American show where, different circus performers, clowns, they get to put up this elaborate show, this elaborate display of their talents. And it was just so beautiful and fascinating. And I remember back then as a child, I would gather in the living room with my family and we would get to watch it in the evenings. And, my dad, who really loved the news channel, always allowed us to at least indulge in that particular show because he too enjoyed it. So that was a beautiful childhood memory for me. And watching these housemates present their wager last night, displaying all of those performances to perfection. Okay, maybe some were not so perfect, but doing it the best way they could. Guys, see, it just took me back. It took me back and I loved it. And everything was just so good. And at some point, I was torn between which team deserved the win because they really did well. They really did great in their own different capacities, And at some point, I started hoping and wishing that Big Brother would be so impressed that he would then finally decide that, okay, you know what? There isn't going to be one particular winner tonight. At least for this week's wager, the whole house did great. So the whole house has won. But then I knew that wasn't going to be possible because, of course, Big Brother has got what they call it now. Big Brother has got a structure for how he wants the week to, pan out. And I guess that was exactly what production had to stick to. But overall, massive accolades to every single one of the housemates because, ladies and gentlemen, they all pulled their weight. This was not your regular wager presentation. This is not your typical wager presentation where some people get to outshine others. No, everybody pulled their weight. And it was also very interesting to see how most of these housemates went out of their comfort zone, to give us a show. It was really impressive. And there's so many people that I've got honorable mentions, right, from the wager, and I'm going to get into it. But overall, all the housemates, they really impressed me, right? They really impressed me. And when Big Brother told them that they did justice to the brief, I totally agreed because it was 100%. They did great. They went out of their comfort zone. A lot of them took on roles that on a normal day they would not even want to take up. But at the end of the day, it was all for the greater mission of executing an excellent wager presentation, and they did just that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into this video right now. Okay, we're already in the video. Anyways, we're going to get into the analysis of this video where we will do not like a critical analysis or any sort of unnecessary comparison because, hey, they all did great, all right? But we're just going to analyze the two different shows from the two different teams, all right? Team 1 and Team 2. Team 1, their team name is kind of difficult for me, so I'm just going to keep on referring to them as Kola's team because Kola was the host for his team. And then the second team is Waco's Playhouse. The name is more simpler to remember, right? So I'm just going to refer to them as their name, Waco's Playhouse. And yeah, they were the ones that won anyways. So yeah, we're going to get into this video right now. But before we do that, hi, you're especially welcome to my channel. My name is Glory Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah, and I am the girl with the tea. Guys, before we get into this video, just a simple reminder that today by 3 p.m. WAT, we're going to be converging here for our YouTube live conversation. And guys, I cannot wait to meet all of you. I cannot wait to host all of you to a wonderful conversation. There's a lot for us to unpack. And I gave you all an assignment the other day on one of my videos that, listen, for everything that you want to talk about, go ahead, put them out list them out, create your outline. I'm going to create my own outline as well. And then when we meet, we would, we will attack all of those conversations. All right. So yeah, make it a date with us. Do not miss out. And one last thing, guys, please like this video. I don't know, every time I remind you people to like my video, you will like that particular video, but afterwards you don't like any other one. Please like my videos. All right. Anyways, without further ado, we dive right into the video. Okay, now we're going to begin with team 1, that is Kola's team. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you all noticed that this particular team did not have as much members as the second team. The second team literally had a whole troop, like there were many. And I heard later on that they had 2 extra housemates on that team. Remember, currently the housemates are 26 in number. Yeah. So the other team had 2 extra housemates, right? Another thing is team 1 had more female housemates, right? I think they had just 4 male housemates, Kola the host, and then they had Jason, Koin, and what's this other guy's name? Kain Kumi. Yeah, so they had just 4 male housemates, and it was quite interesting because despite the fact that they did not have enough guys in their team, they were able to create routines and performances that was just properly synchronized and did not make it obvious that they did not have enough team members. So whilst they were presenting their performances, guys, there was never a dull moment. And I totally agree with Big Brother on that one when he was giving his verdict. There was never a dull moment. There was no single space that was left for the viewers to wait and think and wonder, okay, what's coming next? No. They were able to fill up all the space. How do I put it properly? See, their show was like this. It was together. It was complete. It was well-rounded. There was no loopholes. There was no space for you to think, okay, they missed it here. No, everything just went with a flow. Yes, there was synergy. There was synergy in all of their presentations. And you see, one thing I was really worried about for them was because earlier in the day when Big Brother had opened the arena for them to just go and do like a dry run of their performance, just like the final rehearsal, it had been so chaotic. Yeah, it had been so chaotic. They did not even finish rehearsing. They ran out of time. Big Brother had to bust them out of the arena. And that was because they were still sort of trying to place, okay, which particular performer is coming after which. So it was kind of chaotic for them, and I was really worried that, oh my God, their performance is probably going to be a waste. It's going to be chaotic. But then to my surprise, by the time they came onto that stage in the evening, ladies and gentlemen, it was amazing. It was surprisingly good. Like, it was so good. It was so good. There was never a dull moment. Everything was perfectly executed. Yeah. But then the only thing I noticed that I would point out as a flaw is that their storyline was not very well structured. It was not strong enough. Yeah, they had a storyline just like the second team, but it was not properly structured. Now, Kola did a fantastic job. Oh my goodness, his voice, his accent, this particular accent, which is not the one used in the diary room, but this one that he used in that arena tonight, it was just simply perfect for that role. As the host of the circus, it was so perfect. The attitude, the energy, the vibe, everything matched 100%. He did it so good. Yes. And he was the one that was actually telling the story. And the way he told it, his storytelling technique was just simply excellent. However, as I said, it seemed like the story did not really have a structure. It did not really have continuity. So us, the viewers, were left to figure out the rest of the story for ourselves. And I was really putting my imagination to task. My imagination was working overtime to really get the visuals in my head of what exactly they were doing. And it was beautiful to see. But as I said, there was no continuity. Like, the continuity did not really flow in their presentation. That's in the story, right? But the presentation itself, the performances itself, it was really perfectly executed. All the ladies in that group, they really did great. And oh my God, worthy of mentioning in that team was Jasonjae. Oh my goodness, Jasonjae. The flipping and the jumping through the hula hoops, that was risky, but this guy did it so well. It was amazing. Koin also put his weight. The choreography dance that he and Koin did with Joanna and Dede, that was beautiful. These people had been rehearsing for days, morning, afternoon, evening. They had rehearsed and rehearsed. They had fallen several times, bruised their arms, bruised their knees. But at the end of it all, they really delivered. They delivered an excellent choreography. And you know, another thing that I really loved that also gave me some sort of nostalgia, you know, about the circus from my childhood years was how Emisi, who dressed as a clown, was riding a bicycle in front of the stage while certain performances were ongoing. Guys, that was just beautiful. You know, it gave it some sort of whimsical feel. I loved it. You know, and as I said, overall, they really did great. Never a dull moment. Oh, and one last thing, it was so colorful. It was so colorful. It was beautiful. And you see the color of it all, how vibrant everything was and felt. That is another characteristics of the circus. Yes, everything in the circus is overly exaggerated, is fantastical, it's whimsical, it is what's that word now? Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Yeah, but they really delivered on that. Now quickly moving on to the next team. For the next team, oh my goodness, it was just wonderful. You know, before I mentioned whimsical for the first team, the second team was actually given proper whimsical feel. Yes, it was giving Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know how many of you have actually seen that movie. Yes, the old one and the new one. It was giving just that. Yes, and oh my goodness, Otega's costume, fantastic. Faith's costume as a lost little boy that is scared. Oh my goodness, it was just perfect. It was just perfect. It was beautiful. I don't know how he thought to put together that whole costume, but it was just perfect. You know, like a lost child in a fantastical island that could not find his way. Beautiful, beautiful. And oh my God, did you guys see Gigi Jasmine's outfit, her entire look? She was giving the sorcerer's apprentice, you know, the sorcerer's talking doll. The makeup she did, that was beautiful. That was perfect. Perfectly executed, guys. I mean, nothing could have worked better. That just suited the whole look and the character that she was portraying. And you see, another thing that really made this team stand out is the fact that they had variety. Oh my goodness. They had a variety of circus displays, variety, you know, the hula hoopers, the people jumping to and fro and through the hula hoops, you know, the snake conjurer, the illusionist. Oh my goodness, Ivata killed that role. Her outfit, her makeup, and the way she was doing that stuff, it was so beautifully executed. You know, guys, oh my goodness, it was so beautifully executed. And then our African Black Panther that has added weight. Rude boy almost killed me. You know, I saw him wearing that body hug suit earlier in the day, and I was wondering, like, what's wrong with this guy? So when I saw him on the floor doing his I say, okay. If this kind of Black Panther chases me, I'm not running anywhere. It was so funny. And then another character that was really one of the major highlights tonight, especially for that team, was the bearded wife that was married to the giant, the strong giant, the very, very weird family. Yes, and I'm speaking about Denari that played the role of the bearded wife, singing Fegora. Guys, talk about whimsical. That was the perfect interpretation of whimsical. That is the kind of thing you see in all these fairy tale animated cartoons or series or whatever. It really was given. It was really giving the circus. And kudos to, what's her name now? Was it Gigi Jasmine that did his makeup? It looked so good. And then the way he dressed like a woman. And you really executed the role, because even before they went into the arena, he was already practicing his sitting posture. You know, he was crossing his leg, he was trying to get into the role. And when the guys would tease him, he would say, He doesn't want to be identified as anything. Just leave him. Let him go into the arena, play his role and come out in peace. But it was so beautifully executed. The way he was singing. And guys, do you know that Denari actually sings very well in the house? And he has a very good voice for impersonating people's voices as well. So everything was just beautiful coming from his own act. And then there was also Menson. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought that the playful Menson, the screaming, shouting, chaotic Menson could actually deliver such exceptional performance? Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know what those people are called, people who put up such acts. I don't know what they are called, but that was brilliant. That was fascinating. The way he used the tip of his finger to hold that stick with, whilst putting the balls, the way he put the stick on his forehead. Listen, I'm going to use Big Brother's words. He stole the show. Everything else was given, but he stole the show. That was perfect. Perfectly executed. It was beautiful. It gave the wow factor that circus performances would normally give. It was beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. Yes, I loved it. Now, I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody else's act, during Team 2's performance, but, for the other team, I mentioned that they had synergy. They had a flow. Everything was rhythmic. There was no single mistake that I could spot easily. If I thought there was a mistake, they were able to cover it, but everything flowed beautifully. For Team 2, they had some spaces, like lapses, like for Team 1, I also mentioned that there was no space for anything. There was never a dull moment. It was one performance after the other, one performance after the other. For the second team, in a way, you could see that they did not really have synergy like that. And I just could not really be too critical, in judging them like that because of the story, yeah, right? Because of the story, the way the story was being told, it was more like taking that little boy on a journey to show him this fantastical island. So as each of these creatures were being mentioned, they had to come out of wherever they were to show what they knew how to do best, right? So yeah, it was really that great. It was really that great. So ladies and gentlemen, overall, I really enjoyed myself. I thoroughly was entertained. The housemates really did a great one, and it was well deserved for Team 2, who finally won. I was really excited for them because, trust me, as much as Team 1 actually put their best foot forward, Team 2 actually stole the show with their many performances. They really did great. And, there was some sort of debate online on social media, people saying that, oh, it was a biased decision, that Team 1 actually deserved the win. And I'm thinking, seriously, Team 1 deserved the win. So what would you say about Menson's performance? At least, I mean, if you now want to be very critical, what would you say about Menson's performance? What would you say about Denari's performance, the bearded wife singing Fegora? What would you say about the illusionist? What would you say about her? Like, come on. There's no comparison. Both teams did a fantastic job. And I'm going to say this, that with Team 1, it was all about the entertainment. It's that kind of performance that you are watching and you are just clapping like this and you are so excited, you're in the mood, you're in the zone. But Team 2, a story was being told. So as you're watching it, you are going through a series of emotions. You are shocked, you are wowed, you are amazed, and sometimes you get emotional, especially when you see the bearded wife singing. A lot of emotions. So it was an experience, like a proper experience watching Team 2, but it was more of entertainment for me watching Team 1. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it at that because I would love to hear your thoughts. So just go ahead and share in the comment section below. Let me know which team impressed you the most, and let me know which team you think deserved the win. All right. Go ahead, share all of that, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.